This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
The clerk will call the roll.
On behalf of the millions of people harmed by Anthony Fauci, resoundingly yes.
Future witnesses will argue that appearing before Congress exposes them to punishment regardless of whether they comply with the subpoena.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Contemptible behavior. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. It's only a committee vote for now, but the Republican-led Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee today voted to hold the Biden administration's COVID point man, Dr. Anthony Fauci, in contempt of Congress, firing back at Fauci for pleading the fifth over and over in an appearance last week.
Seeing no other motions, the question is on reporting of an original resolution regarding contempt of Congress. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Senator Langford.
Aye.
Senator Scott.
Yes.
Senator Hawley.
Aye.
Senator Moreno.
On behalf of the millions of people harmed by Anthony Fauci, resoundingly yes.
And so it went 13-10 along party lines, including Pennsylvania's John Fetterman siding with his fellow Democrats. Committee Chair Rand Paul.
Dr. Fauci faced no risk of federal prosecution. All he had to do was tell the truth. More than 100 times, though, he refused.
Democrat Gary Peters warns the contempt vote will hurt the committee's work down the road.
Future witnesses will argue that appearing before Congress exposes them to punishment regardless of whether they comply with the subpoena and invoke a constitutional protection.
Fauci says he clammed up because Paul is obsessed with seeing him jailed. Fauci's attorney calls today's vote a political stunt. Well, it's now up to the DOJ on whether or not to pursue charges against Fauci. He's not back on the job yet, but Kentucky Republican Senator Mitch McConnell says he's been released from a rehab center 53 days after his fall on June 14th, marking his first significant step back toward normal Senate engagement. His return home signals the Senate's longest-serving GOP leader is resuming work, albeit remotely, during a critical stretch of the August work period. McConnell is 84 and has seen ill health in recent years. Iran and Oman. Those are, at least according to Iran, the only two parties engaged in talks right now about reopening the Strait of Hormuz. What's the U.S. up to right now?
President Trump reiterated yesterday the Iranians always lie about the substance of negotiations, but this morning he also sent a signal that the U.S. is ready to resume war if necessary, denying reports about military stockpile concerns, posting to Truth Social, the U.S. has massive amounts of munitions, especially of certain types.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich referring there to reports that the Middle East conflict, along with Russia-Ukraine, has left the U.S. military critically short on some key munitions. Former U.S. defense official Mick Mulroy tells ABC.
We should be concerned. If the reports are correct, we have some like the THAAD that are down 80%. And that is significant in that not just our forces rely on these for defensive purposes, but so do our allies and partners in the region.
The White House is denying a Washington Post report that the apparent shortage led to a squabble between President Trump and Pete Hegseth. So far, New York and Pennsylvania are okay, but the CDC is tracking more than 350 cases of salmonella across at least 27 states.
Colorado and Minnesota accounting for more than 200 cases combined. This as the Mexican-style food chain Qdoba announces it proactively removed jalapeno peppers from all of its restaurants out of an abundance of caution.
That's NBC's Maggie Vespa. Some containment finally in those wildfires burning out in the Spokane, Washington area. Morgan Chesky tells us a fire official is cautiously optimistic.
Crews working in 16-hour shifts in hopes of getting these flames out. However, he says this is very much a process and they might not be able to reach full containment for the next several weeks. And I'll close with the fact that there are still tens of thousands of people waiting to get back home.
More than 1,000 firefighters from several states now battling those flames and racing the clock, with the weekend forecast predicting a return of stronger winds and higher temperatures. Meantime, a man suspected of starting one of those fires was due in court for arraignment today. Next to Ohio, where Governor Mike DeWine is speaking up to defend the owners of a Beaver Creek, Ohio convenience store being sued by Texas-based travel center chain Buc-ee's.
The corporation has filed the suit against Beaver's Mini Mart, claiming trademark infringement over a cartoon beaver used on the store's sign. DeWine addressed the issue while visiting the Ohio State Fair, calling the lawsuit ridiculous and saying it should be dismissed. Beaver's Mini Mart has been open for more than 20 years. Buc-ee's opened its first Ohio location in Huber Heights back in April. I'm Monica Nelson.
And we're going to stay in Ohio for this one. Are you ready for some football? Ready or not, here comes the NFL preseason.
The Carolina Panthers will face the Arizona Cardinals in the first major event of Enshrinement Weekend, celebrating the Gold Jackets for longtime Cards wideout Larry Fitzgerald and former Panthers linebacker Luke Kuechly. Neither team will be playing their starters tonight as the respective coaches look to evaluate the reserves battling for Week 1 roster spots. I'm at Mattinson.
All righty, still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories and also highlights from today's Faith Under Fire feature focusing on New York State's Medical Aid in Dying Act and a legal fight mounting against it. Coming up after Weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Warm and humid air will carry us through the remainder of the work week into the weekend. This as a moist flow circulates around high pressure off the Atlantic coast. The arrival of the cold front will mean increasing showers and storms. The passage of that front should clear the skies and make the way for a better day Sunday. That's the better day this go around in terms of the weather around our region this weekend. Our call for tonight, early on, watch for a shower or a thunderstorm. Overnight tonight, it's partly cloudy and muggy with patchy fog. Low temperatures 60s and lower 70s. Tomorrow and Saturday, warm and humid, plenty of clouds, occasional sunshine, a scattering of showers, and there could be a heavier thunderstorm in the mix as well. High temperatures both days in the low to mid 80s, and then partly sunny and for most of us rain-free on Sunday.
Thank you, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Less than half of 3rd through 8th graders in New York State are reading proficiently. New test scores are out. Our own Sarah Harnish breaks them down.
Preliminary tests show reading proficiency fell 5 points statewide, while math scores rose slightly, according to data obtained by Chalkbeat. 48% of students across the state were proficient in reading on the 2025 state exams, while 57% of students passed the math exams last year, a modest gain. The dramatic decline in reading proficiency raised eyebrows among multiple experts who call it a pretty big swing. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, another issue confronting modern schools is security. While school is out, the Pennsylvania State Police did a dry run, practicing on how to respond to an active shooter. The training done at Millersburg Elementary using live actors, a medevac, and a police helicopter.
If something like this does happen, we are prepared.
Wednesday's critical incident response exercise took place in Dauphin County. Trooper Megan Frazier.
Not everyone's going to arrive at the same time for something like this. So they're trying to stimulate something that is more realistic. Instead of everyone showing at the same time, it's going to be more like real life. And, they're going to be coming in as they can.
The suspect is attempting to barricade within one of the classrooms.
Superintendent Lee Garcia tells Fox 43 such training is tough to go through, but still invaluable.
It does help to be able to kind of walk through the scenarios, to watch the first responders and the state police, to be able to sit in the command post, and watch the footage and hear the talk on the radios. It's very beneficial.
More than 140 people from 6 state agencies participated there. More reaction today to New York State's controversial Medical Aid in Dying Act. It allows those with terminal illness to end their lives by taking a lethal dose of drugs. Doctors can opt out on moral or religious grounds, but those who do have to transfer the patient to another provider. It's now the subject of a lawsuit by Catholic healthcare providers.
If they want to opt out, New York has said, fine, you can opt out, but you got to find someone else to give it to them. They can't do that either.
Attorney Adele Kind represents Catholic nuns in New York opposed to the Medical Aid in Dying Act.
What the sisters are asking for is a true opt-out, the ability to not participate, and the ability for their residents to not have to hear about this.
Jose Hernandez with the New York Association on Independent Living says there should be a delay in implementing the MAID law.
We're just not prepared. The state didn't provide adequate time to address concerns.
Governor Kathy Hochul, though, defends it, disputing those who say the law is at odds with her own Catholic upbringing.
I'm proud that I gave people the choice when life gets really hard, that they don't have to prolong a death that's inevitable.
New Yorkers 18 and over with 6 months or less to live can now request lethal medication. 2 physicians have to sign off on that. There's also a 5-day wait period, and the patient has to undergo a mental health evaluation. Licensed cannabis may soon be showing up at New York farmers markets and events. A new law signed by Hochul allows cannabis micro-businesses and dispensaries to sell products approved at showcase events. Pro-family groups say marijuana shouldn't be at a farmers market next to the squash and the apples, warning it's a gateway drug that leads to addiction. And Speedy Fest is just a day away in Binghamton, New York. Organizers previewed it last night with a balloon glow and tethered hot air balloon rides.
Only be floating about 100 feet in the air. They can get a great view of the sunset, of the rest of, the southern tier as we get ready to kick things off for Speedy Fest. Hot air balloon fever has taken over, and I'm going to go enjoy a little bit inside that one right now.
A WBNG reporter enjoying some hot air. Speedy Fest runs in Binghamton August 7th through the 9th. Up next, highlights from today's Faith Under Fire. As we touched on earlier, New York's 24-hour-old Medical Aid in Dying Act is already facing a significant legal challenge. A group of nuns filing a federal lawsuit and receiving a temporary restraining order to protect them while the case plays out in court. Our Sarah Harnish spoke with Alliance Defending Freedom's Chelsea Yeoman, who says the stage is set for a landmark court battle.
This is the kind of stuff that you fight against every single day at ADF, Chelsea. Tell me your thoughts.
New York has unfortunately become the 13th state, not including the District of Columbia, who have all legalized assisted suicide. And it's really a devastating development. We know that people who are receiving those diagnoses need help and palliative care and compassion and kindness, not killing.
There were a number of cases filed against it. Disability rights group, their case was dismissed last week. The Catholic Order of Nuns filed a federal lawsuit. That case handled by the Beckett Fund, but you've been giving public interest support. Can you tell me some more about that case?
Yes, well, this is a really important case to challenge the New York law because many of these types of laws are trying to force all religious entities to become participants in activity that is against their religious views and conscience. And it starts with these Catholic entities, the Carmelite Sisters for the Aged and Infirmed, the Dominican Sisters of Hawthorne, who you may remember from a previous incident in New York, Missionary Sisters of the St. Benedict, and then the Little Sisters of the Poor, all filed suit saying, we do not want to participate in essentially euthanasia and assisted killing because we have religious beliefs that all humans are made in the image of the living God. That means that humanity is worthy of protection from life at conception to natural death. They were not given the chance to opt out under this law. They were told that they were going to have to be forced alongside other physicians to participate in these types of unethical practices to end human life. And so they filed suit on July 17th, and then the law was halted in a temporary restraining order this week. And so we're grateful to see that there's a little bit of protection here, at least in the interim for now, as this case makes its way through the courts for these nuns who are really just here to serve. These women are here to serve people who need charitable assistance in their greatest moment of need, and their doors should be allowed to be kept open, and they should be allowed to serve, of course, in accordance with their beliefs.
It is a relief that that temporary restraining order to protect the nuns was granted. What happens next?
Well, right now we know that the response by the Attorney General of New York, she will have 30 days to respond. And so there's going to be, of course, a back and forth as all cases have. So her name's Letitia James, I should say. She'll respond to the emergency motion. But in the interim, we know that these sisters are protected. The religious viewpoints are protected. And that also has a ripple effect across the state. We need to be praying as this law goes into effect that people in their dire moments of need have hope. So we want to be praying that people have courage and that they not make the choice to have assisted suicide, which is preeminently ending their lives. We really want to pray that people have more hope than that, and that the state of New York quit making a culture of death the law of the land.
Highlights from today's Faith Under Fire. You can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and, of course, FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
It's hard to name the most painful financial decision, but for many, co-signing a loan ranks near the top. Hi, I'm Rob West with your Faith and Finance Minute. While the Bible doesn't forbid co-signing, it does urge caution. Proverbs 6 warns that putting up security for someone else's debt can become a trap. Why? Because co-signing means you're agreeing to pay if they can't. And when it's a friend or family member, that burden can strain more than just your finances. If you've already co-signed, consider refinancing. The borrower may now qualify on their own or offer to match payments as an incentive to stay on track. It's not ideal, but it could avoid a greater loss. Scripture invites us to seek wisdom, and when it comes to debt, wisdom means pausing, praying, and proceeding with caution. Connect with a certified Kingdom advisor who's been trained to deliver financial advice that aligns with your Christian values by visiting our website, faithfi.com.
Thank you, Rob. Finally at 5. Large industrial machinery, perhaps? Au contraire, it's music, or at least what avant-garde American composer John Cage thought of as music. Cage, who died in 1992, is best known for his silent composition entitled 433. But back to the odd sound, that's the John Cage organ project in Halberstadt, Germany. Built inside a medieval church, in the year 2001, it began playing Cage's composition, which is entitled Organ 2 ASLSP. That stands for As Slow as Possible, and the electric-powered organ isn't due to finish playing it until September 4th, 2640. There's no organist, but every once in a while, a team comes in, adds or removes one of the organ's 7 pipes to change the chord. Yesterday was the Cage organ's 17th ever chord change. Here it comes. Listen. There it is. Bravo. The Cage organ is now 25 years into a tune set to last 639 years, assuming the organ and generations of caretakers can keep it going that long. And that's the world we live in for Thursday, August 6th, 2026. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.